Hi, thank you for joining me today on this little project. I have 4 of these seat cushions. They're matching, so nice and easy. The only thing I need to do is I actually have to cut out each section like this because this is how they stick to the chairs. Apart from that, I think it's going to be quite easy, so let's get on with it. I am going to make a little cut here, or try to. There we go, like that. I'm going to cut up towards here so that I don't cut into the black fabric. I've managed to break the threads here, and I am literally going to cut around this. The reason is the foam is quite firm and the zip only goes a short way round, and it will be a struggle to get the foam out, and I really don't fancy messing today. And seeing as I'm cutting this piece out anyway, I might as well save my hands and carefully cut round until it's free. Now when you are cutting these, just make sure you cut through the stitches and not through the fabric. And this actually has this cover on it, and when I cut through here, I was careful enough not to cut through here. Not that I knew this was underneath, so that was rather fortuitous. But yeah, just cut the stitches. Certainly don't cut this part when you're doing this, okay? I'm going to pop some of this over here so that when I put the cover together, it doesn't catch, because I don't want to ruin the top fabric because the hooks are on here from the velcro, and the same here. You could put other fabric over it if you wanted to, something you didn't care about, just so long as they're covered, because you don't want to mess somebody's expensive fabric up. So that's that will hold. I'm going to take this piece off and use it as a template, and then I'm going to take the other side off and use that as a template. The biggest part I need are the seats, and if I fold that in half there and there, line it up, I'm going to have the center one coming down that dark line there, and unfold that to here, keeping that central. I will cut this out very carefully. I don't want it to move, with a 1/2 inch seam allowance like this. I can judge it all the way around. Well, actually, not quite all the way around. I am going to go half the way around and then cut it out evenly, because one side is slightly different to the other. I know this is a little bit difficult to see because I've got one fabric on top of another. Just pull that into place a little bit better. And I am going to use my first one that I cut as the template. I'm going to cut 3 more out that are identical. I always cut the biggest parts out first to make sure I've got matching bits. Always use the first one you cut as your template, just in case anything changes. Okay, so what I need to do is to work out where the center is, which is right here. And what I need to do is to pull that forward all the way here. Pop that underneath here, like that, and measure back 1 inch, which takes me to here. So I think I could probably do it back here. So let's do that again, because I don't really want to be wasting fabric if I can help it. So let's line that up there, that there, line that to the center of the flower and back. What I need to do is cut through this flower here, because that is going to be the top of the border that goes around. I'm going to take the measurement from a couple of areas. It's not quite 4.5. That loses 1/8 of 1 inch there, and along here it is 4.5. I think I'm going to cut it all to 4.5 inches to start off with. So 4.5 plus my turnings is 5.5. which brings me to here. I am just going to cut my bands a bit larger to start off with, because that is a nice even amount, and I need 4 bands, and then I'll cut them down. There we go. There's no piping going on this. I just need to sew them in, but I still need to make sure that the tops match on all of these. The first thing I'm going to do is make the zip border up. Pop this along. Oops. I'm putting the second side in. I'm going to fold it to exactly the same point. Pull that back slightly so it overlaps. Put that in. And try to keep both sides even, because sometimes one side wants to walk and the other one is already stabilised. I'm going to put the slider on. This could take a couple of goes, or it might take just one. My longest length is actually on this side, which I'm going to pop in, and I have to get that one tooth above the other side, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. It might mean I have to do it 2 or 3 times to get it to do what I want it to do. Oh, the first time? Right, perfect. If you're not sure, is if one of these sides bulges out slightly more than the other, that means that the tighter side is the one that you might have got wrong. Just make sure that is correct there. Right, I'm going to pop this on here, like this. Start cutting back here. I don't need it this wide. I'll pop that a little ways back. I'm going to fold that over the top like that and just sew it in. By using this, it means I don't have to another piece over the zip. All I've got to do is double sew over the zip. Reverse and back forward. Make my way all the way around. I've got a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Pull that so it goes in and around, and then push it into place as you straighten up to come around the side of your cushion. I'm not pulling, I'm kind of twisting and pushing. It's easy when you've got a curve to just pull the curve into place, but you mustn't. You must kind of push it into place. Like this, all the way around the top. I'm going to finish maybe 2 red patterns up. Now I've measured back a little bit, and I'm going to sew from here to the centre front, over a few stitches and then out. I'm going to move a little bit further back. I'm going to go back again to this corner, right in here, and then put that piece in. I'm going to work my way further back. And now I should be able to get around this corner. I won't go very far up. I'll go from about here round. Push it in with your fingers so it's nice and tight on the border side, and sew on round. And hopefully that didn't wrinkle. Come round over your stitches and then out. And my last little bit is up to, let's see, that comes down to there. So I'm going to do it up to here, that under. I'm going to pull this in, fold that up just a little way, because this is where the zip comes in. I always try to give it extra. Before you cut, make sure it is the top. I'm going to cut that across. And just as I did before, lay that across, I'm going to pull it back just a little bit more, because I'm going to fold this piece over twice. I do that so that any raw edges are inside the seam. And again, I will go forward and back over the zip area so it's nice and tight and secure. And then all the way across. Pop this back under, so as I come down from the zipper end, which is here, pull that in. Just make sure that that is actually level here and not twisted out, otherwise it will never sit on the cushion. And then as you come in closer, make sure everything's where it needs to be, and then sew everything into place. Get to your seam that you've just put in and carry on stitching over those stitches and then out. This is the existing underside. I've put these pieces of Velcro over the top so it won't rip into the new fabric. Pull some of these tufty bits out, put that under there like that, and here is the front border to go on there. Line that up to the end, give myself the 1/2 inch seam allowance, and start sewing. So I'm going to pull that up and sew all the way across. Now when I get to the centre where the Velcro is, I might have altered it slightly because I don't think they gave it a full 1/2 inch. So I will pull the soft side back, pop that under there like that, make sure it comes to the end, and then sew across where the Velcro is, and then sew to the end. Having marked the centre back and the centre front of the back of the chair seat, I'm going to start pinning from the centre back like this and the centre front. I'll pop those 2 pieces in first. I'm going to start working from the centre front, get those in. On this side I have my overlaps. I'm going to make sure that that is where it needs to be. Pin that in. And I'm going to start working from the back forward. There's a little bit of a stretch on the back, whether you like it or not, so you just kind of put that in a little bit. Not all will be like this, but often if you've got this kind of back it's a little bit more stretchy. They've pulled it in to shape as a general rule. So here's my front. I'll slide that underneath, make my way to the back. Allow the 1/2 inch seam still. Come into the corner just like you did before, kind of ease all of that in. Always keep your border straight and work the rest in. So it might mean that you have to tip it up as you go. I'm pushing it in to shape, kind of pulling the back and pushing the front so there's no ripples, or very few ripples I should say, because sometimes you're going to get them anyway. Unfortunately the black fabric picks up absolutely everything, it's a nightmare. Pull that in to the side and then into place. It should straighten out. A little bit of pull on there, not too much. Make sure that that fold is exactly where it needs to be, facing forward, and I've got a pin in there holding it, so I'll pull that out slightly. Pull that pin out and pull that into shape. And then as I go around the corner, I'm just pulling the black fabric slightly against the red so it goes in smoothly all the way to the top. And I'm putting a 1/2 inch in. And I might have to put this in again. It looks like it's not going to go in properly. I'll see when I get to the top if it's done that half properly or not. I'm having trouble with this fabric. If it's slightly off at the top, it's not a major thing because I can put it in on the other side. Okay, so that's that side. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to work my way back like I did on the front. So I'm going to come back to here and sew forward. Make sure that's where it needs to be. That's there. Go back a little bit further. I really dislike doing it this way, but that's where it had to go in. Keep all of that even. On the underside, the corner isn't quite as sharp, so I'm going to pin the corner in, or the curve in, like this, so that I make sure that I get it where I need it to go. And that in here. I'm going to start here and go all the way around. Pull it and push it and make it go into shape. Because it's on the underside, if it wrinkles a little bit, it's really not going to be a huge problem. It's just the top that you really don't want to be wrinkling. I'm going to pin along the top here and round this curve. Make sure it looks even, and also up here. It's only to guide it to start off with. A few pins in. Now I'm going to start from the back and work my way on round. Now the last little thing I'm going to do is there's a little bit of a pocket here, but I didn't put very much on, so it could pull out, which means I'm going to top stitch towards the center, not all the way, and then reverse and forward, and then lift the foot up, go straight the way across, and finish up on the other side doing exactly the same thing. I should have left a generous inch to 2.5 centimeters maybe. Cut those threads back. Now I left a little area here so that the zip can tuck down in there and be hidden away. All those threads removed. Pull it all the way around and put it on the cushion. Thank you for joining me on this little project. This actually went in not too badly. It was very thick fabric originally, and we ended up putting very thin fabric on, which has different weaves, and it also has diamond structure. On the front I managed to line up quite well, so it looks as if it's inline here for the pattern. I would have preferred to have put piping in, although actually with this, because it comes down so far, it would not have been possible, but I could have altered it somewhere else. But the main reason is because it would have hidden any misalignments, but I think if you look across the room it's pretty good. The other thing is I would have liked to have put curtain lining into the border here and into the zip border here, because it has wrinkled. It would have given a little bit more structure to the borders because of the shaping. Something I always do is I make up one seat cushion as a prototype to see if there's anything else that needs to be done, and those would have been things that I would have picked up. Unfortunately, this person wanted to cut back on how much he wanted to pay, and so I didn't put those little pieces in that I would have done. But apart from that, I think this works out. Everything where there's a problem is going to be in the chair, so it's not going to show. The other thing I would have done automatically would have been to put more Dacron on, because when you make a new cover up from an old, there's sometimes differences. The old cover, as I say, was a lot thicker and has put certain grooves into the foam. They will come out, maybe. Who knows? If you want to hear more from me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be absolutely brilliant. And in the meantime, see you later. Take care. Ciao.